Before we jump into it, I'd like to jump back to the beginning then. Tommy, do you remember your first impressions of Izzy?
Uh, yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was. We went to uni together, university in Brighton, and the first time I met her, she was playing in a band with Chris, and I was playing in a different band with Chris, and she just stormed right up. I'd never met her before, and she just goes, "You got a fag?"
Did I? I don't remember that.
Yeah. Just asked for a cigarette.
I just remember you had really white trainers. You had really white Converse, yeah. They were like brand new.
Wow. So that was my first impression.
And vice versa?
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember meeting Tommy. I just remember you had white Converse.
That
And
was not very remarkable.
yeah, I literally can't remember anything else. I was probably drunk.
How long did it take from that initial meeting to the two of you making music together? Because you say Izzy, you were in a band with Chris, and
So I think there was a few months where we just played in those different bands, but I guess over the space of that time we met quite a lot because we were around each other's houses and things. So I think it was maybe 2 or 3 months.
I feel like we met with the intention of doing stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Did we?
And then I started playing drums in a band with Izzy, and then that just sort of changed over the years and eventually ended up as we are now.
Because what I read is, well, you started playing drums, but then you had a tough time finding a good bassist.
Well, not a good bass, because that bassist, they're all good players. It was more like finding someone that like could stick it out, I think. Because like it's obviously people don't realize how when you're in a band, like you have to actually be fucking organised and quite punctual and really, really hardworking and determined. And I think that those characteristics were more important to us than how good someone plays or whatever.
Right. For you then, what was it like switching to bass?
It was pretty weird. I mean, I played guitar first. That was the first thing I learned, so it wasn't too. It's kind of just like guitar, but a bit easier.
I liked you on bass because you kind of were like a bit more, like, you were a bit more like raw when you played, you know? Like if you were on drums, you would be really clever on drums, whereas with bass, you were like quite happy to just dumb it out, which I liked. I think that was cool.
Yeah, it's just the weirdest thing was being at the front instead. That was probably the bit that took the most getting used to, I guess.
Those initial, let's say, couple of weeks or maybe a couple of months, what were those weeks like?
Can't remember.
I
You
mean,
remember?
Well, when I first met you and we started playing together, it was kind of, I was learning the stuff they'd already written, and sort of, it was, you know, getting used to playing that. And then I guess it took a few months for us to start really sort of writing together. But then we went through a really pretty intense period when me and Chris lived together. We had this horrible flat in Brighton, and you just used to come around every day.
Yeah.
And we had this lounge which just had sort of bits of paper just stuck all over it with different song ideas and lyrics. And
Yeah, we just stick on the walls, didn't we?
yeah. So that was, I guess, that year we sort of started really getting quite intense with it.
Yeah, I think that was quite important, like, thinking about it, like, because also we'd write all day, and we were all, like, broke. I think we weren't even at uni then, we were on dole. So, and we would just be, like, we'd cook dinner every night. I always remember we had chicken fajitas. Always had chicken fajitas, yeah. We'd write in the day, and then we'd have chicken fajitas, and then we'd go home in the evening.
But that's an interesting point you made earlier then, that this isn't a business for everybody. You need to have that passion, you need to have that drive. So for you, being in that situation where you don't have that much money to spend, but what is the drive to keep going?
Well, you just love it, don't you? Like,
I think getting on, like being on stage, and it's quite addictive, especially when it, like the last few years, we're really lucky because things have grown and we played to more people, and I don't know about you, but it's just, the more you sort of get, the more you want, I guess. You just want it to keep going, and it, you know, it's hard work, but there's, you know, it's a pretty fun thing to do.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Was there a turning point then? Because you say, well, you were in the early stages writing songs, you have sketches all over. Was there a point where things started to go the way you wanted them to go?
Yeah. We just no one gave a shit for so long. And we had all the same songs basically. There was a song, we still play now, some of them. Then we worked with this PR guy, and we had no manager, we had no agent, we had no label, and this PR guy just came out of the blue and was like, I'm gonna get you, what is it, 100,000 hits on a track overnight. And we were like, yeah, of course, mate, yeah, of course you are.
I think the most we'd ever had at that point was like a few hundred, you know, which felt really good to us. We were really pleased with that.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, I got a gold mine with these guys because they've not done anything yet and I can just do it. And we were like, okay, cool, let's see what happens. And he went and bloody did it, didn't he? Made us the most blogged about band of 2016 or something.
But that's fascinating in a way, because going from that one end to the other almost. So what was that like then, experiencing all of a sudden everybody's talking to you about you?
That was the weirdest era of our inclinations, I think, because we didn't play any shows.
Okay.
We didn't have any photos. We gave people a phone number and we were like, yo, like, you want to know about what we do? Text me. It's kind of awesome, wasn't it? We were just writing and getting on with our jobs and our writing and stuff. But it was kind of...
Well, it's weird because we get asked quite a lot, how did you come up with the idea of giving out your phone number or this and that? And to be honest, it was all just, we were just making it up as we went along.
Yeah.
And the stuff seemed to work. But it's weird because with the internet, there's quite like a disparity between, you can get like 100,000 people listen to your song in a day, and then go and play a gig in, you know, any city in the UK and play to 30 people. And it's just quite
I think,
a weird...
yeah, the genius of what we had with that was like, we'd been playing together for so many years that once the online stuff kind of happened, we'd had a bit of like being a real band, whereas some people are just fictitious almost, they just exist with their songs, whereas we'd always been a real band, like we'd done the slog before then. So as soon as someone said, here you go, here's a tour, go and play all these venues around the world, we were like, nothing could stop that, you know, we were just having the best time ever, like.
Yeah, I was going to ask if looking back now, how important those times were in terms of coming together as a band and kind of honing your craft.
I think it's probably the most important thing we could have done. Because I guess everyone's different, but if we had just, you know, blown up overnight, got really big really quickly, you wouldn't really appreciate anything. So when something doesn't go quite right, you're not very humble about it, I guess, maybe. But because we did it for so long with no reward really, apart from just
The
enjoying
music.
it.
Right.
And, yeah. So I think, it's super important, I think.
Is there one show or one incident that sticks out from that period?
In Dutch world, it's definitely playing Metropolis Festival in Rotterdam.
And not even just Dutch World, I think.
Yeah,
'Cause
just
that
maybe
was-
generally, yeah.
That was the first ever gig we did outside of the UK. It's probably the biggest crowd we'd ever played to at that point, just ever. And the gig was really good.
It was off the chain, wasn't
Yeah.
it? We had this there was like 70 photographers waiting as we got off stage because they were like, wow, who's this band? Like, where have they come from? And we were just like, oh my God, we got to stay in an EasyJet hotel. Like, it's like, And we went to a Turkish restaurant and we were all there like having this amazing food the night before, just like, oh, we can't believe we get to be here and like eat all this crazy food, and like there was catering, like all of that shit. It's just like so fun, wasn't it?
And then it was weirdly lucky, like there's a bit of a storm, and I don't know if lightning actually hit the main stage or they had to close the main stage for a little bit just as we were going on, I think.
Yeah, and it started like really
pouring.
heavily pouring off the tent, didn't it?
And so everyone came into the tent, because I'm
Forgot about that.
assuming no one had heard of us really. But yeah, the tent just sort of filled up immediately. It was,
Weird, wasn't it? And then we went outside again and the sun came out and all these photographers just appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Maybe they came down with the lightning.
Maybe, yeah.
Talking about those live shows, I mean, this might sound as a silly question, but can I assume you take a lot of pride in those live shows?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Live
definitely.
shows, like, people paying you money. Like, people have, like, worked their day job and, like, chosen to spend their money on coming to see you perform. It's like, you've got to give them everything and more. And they deserve it, because you get to share, they're sharing your most intimate self, you know?
So when you go on stage, is there an this might sound weird, but is there an intent in a way? Are you very conscious on stage when you play?
Yeah. I mean, we're not the best musicians, and I think that probably adds to it in a way, because you feel you have to make up for that and really sort of put everything into the show and make it something that people remember and make a connection, I guess. So yeah, I can see it could be quite easy to lose sight of that after a while, so we're always quite conscious to not,